Welcome everybody to the last game of the day, or the last series rather of the day, for the MPGL, the Mineski Pro Gaming League Season number 6, sponsored of course by Gigabyte, SteelSeries, ViewSonic, as well as the Secret Shop Philippines. So huge shout out to them of course. It's going to be MSI Evolution Gaming Team versus Invasion Esports in this 2-game series, which definitely should be a pretty good matchup to watch. Of course, we're HeflaTV, the English coverage for you. I am Coucher, and once again I am joined by Mike Loris. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It's getting to a decent time of the day. Sun is shining and everything like that, and I'm here casting Dota, just as all should be. MSI coming off of a 1-1 and Invasion getting 0-2'd, I believe it was. So they probably don't feel as good as MSI do, but at the same time, MSI don't really feel too great either. It was only a 1-1, and the one that they did win was kind of eh.
Oh, it's definitely true, and I think Invasion still, even having lost 2-0 to Aces, they must be the favorites coming into this, at least from just past experience as well as past performance of Invasion. Plus, Invasion are actually hot off a victory up against Mineski as well. They used heroes such as the Pugna and the DK in that, so maybe they're going for a similar lineup here as well, just going for something aggressive, which definitely is the playstyle of Invasion. They play, or at least used to play, rather similar to Titan, pre-TI4 at least. So definitely early aggression, or at least hopefully will be still the name of the game for them. But Razor is the pick for MSI. Man, that hero, it's... Ugh.
You can never get rid of him. You'll be here forever until the day you die.
But Invasion, whoa, starting with a center plus a Lich. I do know Invasion love to play center, and actually center was the first ban by Aces 2 games in a row up against Invasion. Invasion, they're a team that even run a Centaur in that safe lane tri-lane every now and then. At the moment though, Centaur Lich off lane definitely could be a possibility.
Yeah, it's a decent combination. Lich also does potentially open up the door later on for dual lane mid if you want to do that. It's a possibility, and ordinarily it won't really be that viable, but with Lich it does become possible. Centaur Lich is also, they're fine to work together, slow them down into a whole burst combination from Centaur. It's a truckload of magical damage that many heroes won't be able to survive. If they add another hero on top of that, then they're golden. But whenever you see a Lich in the game, you know the lanes are going to be a little bit difficult to predict just because of the versatility of the hero.
Yeah, I think the hero is overall pretty damn strong. Just, of course, Chain Frost. I guess unless you have reverse polarities or black holes and you can land them perfectly, or maybe the Chronosphere or something along those lines, the Chain Frost isn't all that reliable of a spell, but if you get that perfect Chain Frost, there's little to nothing that the enemy team can do about it, because it's just such high magic damage if you get all the bounces correctly. But even without that, just in the laning phase, not having to worry about any mana regeneration at all, just sacrifice Frost Blast, sacrifice Frost Blast. It's so annoying to go up against. And of course the sacrifice also making it so that the enemy core will be denied that one last hit for sure, plus some XP as well. Definitely is pretty strong, but MSI going for a Tidehunter, a hero that I haven't seen all day long, but definitely a pretty damn strong one.
Yeah, it's a hero that has fallen off quite a bit since 0.81. I don't even think he's been affected that much. I don't. Nothing really comes to mind, although I might
The
just be
anchor smash
forgetting.
got changed a little bit. It scales now, it starts at 40%
Mm.
or 40, 45, 45, 50, 55 and 60 should be the
I mean,
damage
yeah,
reduction, but other than
it is.
that,
It is a slight nerf for the Tidehunter for sure, but I think he's still strong enough at what he does that he should still be picked up a little bit more than he is. He is going to be on the field today, and I think Invasion might be a little bit more inclined to be aggressive towards that Tidehunter now because it is a hero that you could deal with if you do get on him. Because Centaur versus Tidehunter, if the lanes do pan out like that, it's not the best times for Centaur. Melee versus melee is 9 times out of 10 going to go Tidehunter's way.
it definitely is. I mean, in that matchup, it really, of course, comes down to player skill as well. Usually, yes, Tidehunter wins that matchup, I think, but I've seen Centaurs actually crush it as well. Just wait patiently out till you have that level 3 of the double edge and then go aggressive. But Invasion, a third pick Morphling coming out from them. That's a hero at least you don't see picked up that early in the game. At least not usually.
Yeah, Morphling is usually reserved for a little bit later. This might actually be a dual lane Morphling mid. Versus Razor, it'll be a little bit challenging to make that happen, but even if it's not, Morphling is a hero that can contribute a little bit early on. Not the most, but certainly not the least either. So Invasion, with the Centaur and Lich already picked up, it looks like they want to be a little bit aggressive and try to buy a little bit of farm space for the Morphling, but at the same time have the Morphling participate. And if you can get that to happen, then all of your heroes are going to be just so stacked up against what MSI have. So Morphling pick, I think they could probably wait on this one. I see a lot of teams doing this, like pick up heroes that they could wait on just because they feel like picking it up, which is sometimes fine. But I think Morphling is a decent hero here, although it could become very, very bad if MSI take countermeasures against this. Right now, MSI only have a Ravage as a stun, and they're going to need more.
Yeah, what could they go for though? I guess Ancient Apparition has been used to deal with a Morphling just to make sure the Strength Morph actually doesn't get anything to a Morphling more or less. I guess Skyref Mage is also still available, getting the burst necessary to bring down a Morphling, but is it just a pick for them? Are we gonna see a Drow coming out of this as well?
Lion.
I sure hope not. Drow does not do well against Morphling once Morphling gets it real close to the waveform. Centaur eats Drow for breakfast every single day of the week. When you pick up a Visage, it usually signifies that you're going to be going for a Drow Ranger, but now with a Lion on the pool with that high burst damage, together with Lich's burst damage, Drow Ranger is going to be picked up. I mean, it's not going to be the best. And Invasion, since they know about this, they're going to be prioritizing the Drow. They want to put pressure on her early on, and it's a very easily countered hero if the enemy team sees it coming.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Drow is just so damn squishy, and it's not like her movement speed is excellent or anything like that. So I guess it really comes down to the early game, how well Invasion can just take matters into their own hands. If MSI though, if they can get just some guaranteed safe farm on the Drow Ranger early on, maybe make it so that Centaur actually doesn't get his Blink Dagger all that fast, might work out for them, but it's definitely a risky pick. At least Tidehunter and Razor, I mean, it's not like it's all about the Drow at the moment. Razor definitely can carry his own weight there as well, probably, so they're running with multiple cores that scale reasonably well to the late game as well.
Yeah, and usually you see teams with Drow Ranger pick up a whole bunch of, okay, hold on to that, because we have a Necrophos on the field. I don't know why Necrophos is being picked up right now. There's no real anti-tanking needed. But I was going to say that Drow Ranger usually picked up with a whole bunch of fragile range heroes. Razor and Tidehunter or Razor especially, going to benefit a lot from the Drow Ranger's aura. Tidehunter not as much, but he still will be able to provide a bulky front line, much like the Razor. So the Drow Ranger is someone to hide behind. But the Necrophos pick, I don't really see why you pick up a Necrophos here, because Drow actually crushes Necrophos.
Well, I do see the synergy between just using Necro Ultimate plus just using the Finger of Death on that same target to make sure that he dies. And if you get the Aghanims as well, they're not gonna have buyback, but I'm not too sure if it's just worth it going for that combination. Just it gives you some sustain as well, of course. Yes, in the fights the Death Pulse is pretty annoying to deal with, but Necrophos early on runs out of mana rather fast. The last time I actually saw Necrophos was together with an OD, which was so damn excellent since Necrophos never ran out of mana because of Essence Aura, but this time around, don't really see it happening. Lich usually doesn't want to build Arcane Boots either. I guess Lion is gonna have to go for one, so I don't know. I'm not too sure or convinced with the Necrophos at the moment. Maybe they're gonna prove us otherwise, but Enigma, last pick for MSI, so going a little bit greedy there, going for the jungler as well. But I guess Invasion, they don't really have too much to punish it.
Yeah, so Enigma is going to benefit a lot from the Drow Ranger aura as well. Once you are near the Drow Ranger or you turn the aura on, then Eidolons are each going to be hitting for like 100 a pop at a certain point in the game, which is freaking scary to think about. So Enigma Drow is pretty good. It's kind of the same reasoning why we see Visage Drow picked up, because they do have those ranged summons that get the benefit of the aura. And with Drow Ranger, the Enigma is going to be some pretty good protection. If you keep the Enigma close to the Drow, then you'll be able to cover her with Black Hole, or at least the threat of a Black Hole. Add onto that the threat of the Ravage, and suddenly Drow Ranger has quite a bit of space. Invasion with the Morphling that they have, as well as the Centaur, they'll be able to punish Drow if they get close, if they get their Blink Daggers really quickly. Everyone else, not as much. Maybe the Lion gets in for a Hex and Finger. Maybe the Necrophos has a Reaper Scythe at max range, but Necrophos and Lich are both not that great versus Drow Ranger.
To be honest, I have to say I favor MSI's draft at the moment. So I'm not sure about you, but I think draft-wise, at least MSI has the upper hand here.
Yeah, I think so too. Invasion, they kind of wasted their last pick, I want to say. It's not quite a waste because Necrophos, he obviously can do quite a few things very well, and adding to your sustain, doing a lot of percentage-based damage, and denying buyback can be crucial later on. But MSI, they have a really nice way of keeping heroes off the Drow Ranger. They have tanky heroes in the Razor and Tidehunter in order to have a front line. So Drow, if she gets her farm, and she probably should get a little bit, is going to be pretty okay in this game.
Oh man, well, game should be fun at least. I mean, when you have an Enigma and the Tidehunter on the same team, the team fight should be rather explosive and just flashy. So far though, one player disconnected, no clue when he's back or what's wrong with him, but hopefully nothing major happening. But I guess we can just go over the lineups anyway. So for Invasion on the Radiant side, ADTR, their captain, will be playing the Lich, leaving Kechikimba on the Morphling, so most likely a mid lane Morphling, or at least that's what role the player usually plays. Okay, will be the support Lion, FCFC on the Necrophos with Ghost, the last one being on the Centaur Warrunner.
And on MSI, we got Shenrui playing the core farming Drow Ranger. JYC is going to be on the Enigma with Jotan on the Razor. That leaves the Visage to be played by G-Tind. I don't know, probably just going to call him Visage. And the last hero, BYB, currently not here, is going to be handling the Tidehunter. But he has reconnected, so it looks like we're not going to have to deal with any annoying remakes or anything like that. But yeah, so I think we both favor MSI's lineup. What do Invasion have to do in order to kind of redeem this disadvantage that they have with the draft?
Well, to be honest, I think their lanes aren't going to be all that bad, if they're going to be what we possibly thought. If it's like Lich, Centaur off lane, it actually might be rather hard for the Drow Ranger to get too much done. Visage, he has 0 armor, so I'm not too sure how well he can actually harass the Centaur off the lane there, especially if Lich is just being there with a Frost Blast. And if the Lich is there, continuous Frost Blast onto the Drow Ranger, and on level 2 already they have the potential to kill the Drow, I think. Just Frost Blast into Hoofstomp into Double Edge. So if they lane it like that, I think Invasion, if they just kind of win their lanes, although I really think that probably the lanes are going to be rather even. I think both teams are going to win one lane and the third one will be even, I think. So, yeah. I don't know, Invasion, they're going to have to get level 6s fast, get the fast blink there on Centaur and just bring the aggression to MSI, but even that's not going to be easy.
Alright, so we'll see if the Morphling can actually pull out a win in this mid lane. As you said, a lot is going to be hinging upon that fact. Centaur and Tidehunter are going to have pretty much the same time on their respective lanes. They're probably not going to get anything, and I would say Morphling versus Razor is a Razor-favored matchup. It's hard to find a matchup where Razor isn't going to completely dominate, and Morphling isn't the strongest mid laner. He is capable enough, especially once he gets his bottle, but before he gets that, he's actually pretty crappy. He has a good amount of base damage, but the lack of range is really going to hurt him, and the fact that Razor has static link means that every time the Razor wants to, he can force out the Morphling's waveform. And the Morphling only has so much mana to spend, so he can only survive that static link for so long. I'd just also like to quickly point out that these couriers in this game are badass. Look at these guys.
Oh lord. Oh, indeed. The dire one especially, it's wicked sick, man. Wicked sick. But one thing that Invasion already has going for them is that actually they managed to deward an observer which was placed here to block the double pull. And of course get some rune vision at the same time. So nicely done by Invasion already. And they did here. He denied a creep from the mid lane. Not too sure if he's actually gonna keep on denying that or not. And stay in the mid lane. And if he does, it's definitely gonna help Kechik get some farm on the Morphling. Although I'm not too sure how much Lich can do to a Razor. Razor definitely will be just able to get XP himself as well, at least. Probably.
Yeah, the Lich sacrifice kind of balancing the fact that Enigma also offered a little bit of help towards the mid lane, but the mid lane Morphling versus Razor, as I said, not good for the Morphling. When you add a Lich into that equation, it gets a lot better, actually, because Lich is able to harass with the Frost Blast. He'll be able to sacrifice and guarantee Keswick a little bit of something over in mid, and Jotan can only static link one of those targets. Whoever he doesn't static link is going to be right-clicking him all the while the other person just runs away. So this laning situation is actually a lot better for Invasion. FCFC is capable of handling the Tidehunter 1v1, isn't going to be demolishing the lane, not by any stretch, but with the help of the Lion, he'll be just fine. And then you have Centaur up on top, who's getting a little bit of experience as well. The Visage not being as aggressive as I really would have thought. It's actually Ghost being the one aggressively going towards the Visage. Again, 0 base armor is really hard to withstand any sort of right-click harassment.
Yeah, I mean, even Return actually does more damage to it because it's purely physical, so it's extremely hard. Ghost is going to be so annoying, and he's just gonna keep on going. Grave Chill even comes out from YND there, just to make sure Ghost doesn't get too overeager, although, man, just look at the damage. Visage can't do much at all.
It's really hard times for the Visage over up on the top lane. Ghost is also potentially going to rotate around and find some aggression onto the Enigma, which is a possibility. The Centaur is having a lot more freedom to do what he wants, whereas Tidehunter looks like he's going to start stacking up some Ancients. He's going to need about the same amount of levels as he needed previous to the patch in order to be comfortable with clearing off that Ancient stack, but he'll be able to get it down eventually.
It's at least a nice just safety net of sorts. Later on, you can definitely farm it up. Maybe even have Enigma come in with the Eidolons or well, anybody else if it's really necessary. But to be honest, I thought that the Lion Necrophos dual lane might not box him out of the lane completely, but I guess it's working out rather fine for them. So Centaur, he's getting more accomplished on his own offlane than BYB on the Tidehunter is. And to be honest, maybe Lich would have even been overkill to the top lane to help out the Centaur. So just Lich helping out mid lane, definitely a good decision so far for Invasion.
Kind of surprising that Ghost is having such a great time over in this mid lane. It's the fact that Visage doesn't have boots and the Centaur does, which means Centaur is able to go aggressive versus Visage. Now once Drow Ranger is in the area, then Centaur can't really do much because Frost Arrow and then Kiting, it doesn't really matter how much movement speed you have because Frost Arrows are just that good. So Ghost is going to have a little bit of time to get a little bit of a free start over in this top lane, and that could be the difference between a Blink Dagger at 10 minutes and a Blink Dagger at 15 minutes, which would of course mean that you have 5 more minutes of openings in order to possibly take. So Centaur getting a good start is actually like one of the most crucial things for Invasion, because again, a Blink Dagger on Centaur is going to be invaluable at dealing with Shenrui's Drow Ranger.
It definitely is, and overall, I mean, Centaurs, I think I saw some stats on another stream at some point about the Centaur. If it's like a past 15-minute Blink Dagger, the win rate just drops quite heavily. So you definitely want to get it at least pre-15 minutes. The faster the better, as always, for Blink heroes. But looking at the lanes and the farm so far, safe laners rather even, 23 and 8 on the Drow, 21 and 2 on the Necrophos actually. What? Aggressive waveform from Kechik. Immediately static link though, not going to be able to steal too much since Lich comes in as well. But who's going to get the rune now? Oh, Chotan, do you really want to go in? I didn't think so, and actually Kechik, with another waveform, could have even gone aggressive really. Static link was on cooldown and he knew it. But do you think Chotan should go at least for 1 point into Unstable Current early, just to make sure that the Frost Blast is there? Oh, BYB! Earth Spike, one more right click, okay. He won't get it, but he might go down in return. Static Link comes out as well. Can he outrun them? He has boost of speed, Chotan. Not that fast, thanks to no Unstable Current yet. And okay, actually, he might be fine. Another Earth Spike, one right click. Actually, Lich comes in as well to help. So, no first blood yet.
I think the 1 point in Unstable Current is worthwhile. In this game, especially if you're going to be expecting a gank from the Lion, then a point of Unstable Current can make the difference potentially. Also being able to constantly poke back at the Lich whenever he decides to Frost Blast you can also be the difference between surviving and going down. So although the Razor's other skills are very powerful and Static Link doesn't get a huge amount of value this game, I still think it's worthwhile for him, as he's going to survive regardless. And still, we hit the 5-minute mark and no one has actually died yet. At this point, usually a Centaur offlane would have died, but no pressure from MSI just yet. Their Enigma is pretty much just AFK farming the jungle and is happy to do so.
Well, if you can let that Enigma free farm, it definitely might just come back. Oh, the Reaper Siphon to BYB. It's not going to be enough quite yet. One more right click though will finish BYB. So FCFC gets the first blood on that safe lane Necro. Finally, we get the first blood coming out. 5.5 minutes in. But Enigma still free farming. And I think it's not all that bad for MSI. I mean, it was an offlaner after all who died.
Yeah, having your Tidehunter go down is not the worst thing in the world, especially when he's still getting a stack of Ancients going, so he'll have that contingency plan later on. That being said, FCFC getting first blood is pretty bad. You don't want enemy Necrophos to get a lot of health, or get a lot of levels, a lot of gold, because then he's going to have a lot of health. Then he's going to be very difficult to kill. If he gets a Blink Dagger or Force Staff or anything like that, then getting in the face of the Drow is, again, a possibility, and that's exactly what Drow does not want to have happen. So FC getting a whole bunch of free time and free farm over on this bottom lane. MSI, they're going to have to do something about this. Their Drow Ranger's getting a lot of free farm as well, but they're not doing as much to shut down the enemy Centaur.
To be honest, their push at the moment, I would have liked to see them wait until Shenron gets a 600 row ranger, just to have that extra marksmanship agility, which would have boosted their just tower pushing by so damn much. Graveshit comes out and tower, it's just going to be in deny range now. If they had that marksmanship, this tower would have gone down so much faster.
Unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. Tower denied, and Lion is going to make sure that his team, or the enemy team, does not get anything done with that. And that's just a lot more gold that the Drow Ranger could have had, but is instead not going to have to work with. So a little bit of a nice pickup from Invasion, that together with the first blood, and they should be sitting comfortably in the gold and experience chart. They're a little bit behind because of the Enigma, which is to be expected. But all things considered, they're still doing very well in this game.
Yeah, they certainly are. I guess Chotan struggling a little bit, 21-7 compared to 39-16 in the mid lane, but you're up against the dual lane, and Razor is getting the levels, getting a reasonable amount of farm as well at it. So the dual lane, I guess it wasn't so much as to shut down the Razor, but to ensure the Morphling's farm, which is definitely an important thing as well that you have to have in the game when you're running Morphling, especially in a lineup like this. As MSI hang, it has begun.
Alright, we're gonna hang right here, guys, as we are apparently experiencing some technical problems or something. But yeah, guaranteeing the safe farm for the Morphling is pretty important. As you see, the Razor and Morphling are both at around the same level, and this was Morphling with the dual lane. So the Lich contributing a whole lot to the Morphling survival, now going aggressive up on top. They're going to land the spike onto Shenron, double edge it on him as well. Stomp also landed onto the Visage. He's going to drop a Soul Assumption onto Ghost, but it's not going to be enough to actually get this kill. He's going to get chopped down as well. It's a double for the Centaur up on top lane. Invasion take an early 3-0 advantage. Stampede, he hit that level 6, and then he charged forward. Easy peasy. So top lane, now looking a lot worse for MSI, and at the same time, mid lane, not winning by any stretch. In fact, the Morphling is very far ahead in the CS department, so all the lanes actually going pretty poorly for MSI right now.
Oh man, really well just laned from Invasion, to be honest, the laning decision they made. And that fight, suddenly, look at Ghost, 1.8k in the bank. He only has 14 last hits, but the 2 kills just making such a huge difference there. If he continues like this, gonna be like a 10-minute blink as FC gets the kill onto BYB once again. And definitely I did not expect the Tidehunter to struggle as much against the Necrophos.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either. I guess the passive Heartstopper aura against a high HP hero is going to be more annoying to Tidehunter than it is to most, but Necrophos shouldn't even be getting in range most of the time to land all these skills and bring the Tidehunter that low for a Reaper Scythe. And once you get to level 2 Reaper Scythe, then your kill potential just skyrockets. Finger of Death over on mid lane. 50 HP, the Razor will survive. Finger of Death does a lot of damage, but the waveform unfortunately missed. If the waveform hit, easy kill on the Razor.
At least the Lion still tried to go for it. Almost succeeded as well, what? Like 60 HP was remaining on Razor, I do believe. But, well, no kill. At least they will make Razor back off all the way back to base, so they can push a little bit more free as FCFC. Gets a tier 1 tower bottom lane at the same time as well. Mech already finished on the Necrophos. Of course, he's gonna be struggling a little bit for the mana. Death Pulse 185, so takes up quite a lot. I guess if he gets a kill though, the Sadist, the passive, definitely will get the mana back. Oh, Ghost, they want to go for Shenru again. If they get the Hoof Stomp, it's all over for him, I think. The Grave Chill is there. Even Chain Frost used for it, no bounces. But I don't think they even need it. And oh man, Ghost actually, he's lacking mana for the stun. They get the double edge, but ADTR will go down to YND. And Visage can get one more. Grave Chill, still 2 seconds on cooldown. Malphite from JYC, they just can't get in range properly. So Ghost will be able to outrun them, I think. But a 1-for-1, yes, throw dying is a little bit worse off for MSI, but at the very least they get that one return.
Yeah, that's a return kill that they probably should not have gotten. Centaur unfortunately miscounted his mana. Needed 230 for that Stampede into Hoof Stomp combo and was just short, so he forced the Drow into the corner and they got the kill eventually, which is great. It would have been disastrous if they didn't, but it took a lot longer than it should have and it costed them one of their heroes, so not the best situation, but still pretty good for Invasion, all things considered. As Centaur, off of that kill, has now perched up his Blink Dagger, and this is hidden to MSI, so they're not going to see this one coming. The Lich is also smoked up. Lion kind of blowing this, though, so these heroes might want to rotate over to the mid lane. We're getting a kill on the Razor, though he is sitting at 1000 HP, is very, very possible.
It definitely is. No Chain Frost, unfortunately for them. Frost Blast actually is level 3 as well, so hasn't maxed it out yet, and well, the smoke breaks now. But still, MSI, they have no idea. They didn't have the proper vision. And JYC is actually coming in from behind. And nobody knows where the enemy is.
They found Shenrui. No, they didn't. They're going for Razor, who is going to be safe because Shenrui saw Invasion. That was actually very unfortunate for the Invasion side.
It definitely was just a smoke wasted, some farming time at the same time as well. But of course, Morphling keeps on getting the last hits in the mid lane. Number 2 in net worth. FCFC, number 1 on the Necrophos, who is already pressuring the tier 2 tower. And MSI, they smoke up in return as well. They have the mech finished on Enigma. They have the black hole. They need to make it count though as BYB. He's so low on health and mana both. He just barely has enough for Ravage. Well, doesn't even have enough for that anymore. But whoa, it's Roshan time.
Okay, so Drow Ranger, only 1 point in aura, yet still increasing all this range damage by 16. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're increasing all of these units, then it gets to be quite a bit. So the Roshan going to take quite a beating right now, and Invasion, they could contest this if they knew that this was going on. This is a rather early Roshan, though, for any team, really. So they're not going to know that this is happening until Morphling spots it out with the Centaur Replicate, and Centaur Replicate is not going to do anything. He's going to Stampede the Replicate forward. Now Kesekemba is going to wave for him, or jaunt right in, and okay, he can take so much damage. The mech is out, but already the line goes down. Now Scythe on Shenrui will demolish him. JYC as well, going to get the black hole off. One more tap is going to kill him off, though. Ghost in the backhand. Going to try to go for Jotan. He's still doing a lot of damage. Now Chain Frost onto Shenrui. Back up from the Aegis. Here comes BYB with the Ravage. Should land onto 4 heroes. It will land with the Anchor Smash onto 4 as well, and Shenrui getting his space. Will get Finger of Death on the high ground. Now the Impale onto BYB as Ghost taking a lot of damage. Soul Sump's going to kill him off. Kesekemba still standing strong. Wait for him forward. It's going to be a triple kill for the Morphling. Gonna go for some familiars, gonna go for the Visage as well. Damage not quite there. But at the end of the day, MSI, they take Roshan, they take the Aegis, but they don't take the best fight in the world. I think Invasion coming out ahead on this fight.
It's actually hard to tell. It was actually a 4-for-4, Lion buying back as well. But XP change for both teams, only a 100 difference there. Gold slightly favoring MSI. So, kind of a wash of a fight really. The black hole though, it was pretty damn nice, but unfortunately Morphling wasn't caught and had enough range to go for the right clicks and bring Enigma down as he was so low before. If he had gotten the full duration channel on the black hole, could have been so different since Tidehunter would have had some extra time to actually join the fight before MSI dies, or the majority of their heroes die. But Invasion, man, just looking at the net worth, Morphling, he is way too far ahead of anybody else for MSI's liking.
Yeah, crucially the Morphling did not die in that last fight, whereas the Drow Ranger picked up the Aegis, but ended up dying with the Aegis and then dying for real straight after. So Kesekemba is going to be the real winner of that fight. Now on top of the net worth chart is going to be very stacked very quickly. He's at Perseverance, 2,700 gold. Lincoln Sphere should be up on him if he wants to. They're going to go behind the tier 1, find OK. Spike is going to fly into Jotan. Now Stampede is out, but he's already dead. Ghost is going to jump in, double edge of JYC with the Scythe to kill him off. Now Ghost taking so much damage though from everything else. So much physical from the MSI side, and it's going to be a 2-for-1. I think they should have left the Lion for dead. I guess getting a kill on Enigma is nice, but they probably shouldn't have gone for that at all. Kesekemba, though, at the same time, did take a tower of his own. So tower for tower, 1-for-2 trade.
I have to agree that Lion, he should have been left for dead there for sure. Just no reason for the center to come in. It's not like they didn't have vision of MSI. They were under the tower after all. So they knew exactly what they were going into. No idea why they thought that they can just burst one hero down and escape from it. Maybe if Lion had the finger and was able to use that before his death or something, but not to be. But like you mentioned, Kechik, he got the tower in return in the meantime. Has his Lincoln Sphere already finished with the power threads 14.5 minutes in. Pretty damn good timing. FCFC also working towards the Aghanims, has the point booster already. So their cores, the two cores that actually matter as well, they are getting all the necessary farm, and even the Centaur, it's not like he doesn't have any farm at all.
Yeah, Centaur is doing just fine, has the Ring of Hell, Ring of Regen, presumably building towards his Force Staff later on, but Necrophos with this point booster might be a Bloodstone. Aghanims is pretty good on Necrophos, but a lot like the Invoker, it's an upgrade that you want to get later on when buyback actually becomes relevant. The extra percentage in health missing is not really going to be relevant most of the times, as you saw last fight, the Reaper Scythe hit someone who's pretty much dead anyway, so it's really just an activation of Sadist for the Necrophos, and not really for an execution tool yet. Eventually it'll get there, and eventually the buyback is going to be relevant, but I think Bloodstone might be a little bit better than Aghanims, but you can't really blame him for going for either one.
Well, looks like it's going to be Aghanims because he also just purchased a Ogre Club for it. Unless he wants to go for PKB after this, which I highly doubt, to be honest, against what MSI has, but we will see. Either one can be good. And look at this invasion, they are so ready to take a fight. Level 2 Reaper Scythe is there, they have the Finger of Death Ghost, has the Stampede ready as well. Will anybody just come actually push themselves? At the moment they're letting the minions do the work.
That's all they have to do. If MSI do end up getting initiated upon, they have Ravage, and they have Black Hole and Mechanism in order to disengage or just turn around and take a fight. So either way, the fight is going to be extremely close. I think maybe MSI have a slightly better team fight with the Ravage at their disposal. That is built on the assumption that their Drow Ranger doesn't get instantly killed, which is a possibility. She is down in the bot lane with a Blink Dagger, so she's going to be able to keep herself relatively safe from all of this. Maybe. It's always possible that Centaur gets a jump on Drow, and then Drow can't really do anything. She's going to run away from the Morphling, and it looks like Morphling is just going to farm up the creep wave, and well, it's going to be a little bit more farming from here. Drow Ranger needs more levels. She has level 2 in the marksmanship, but only 1 precision aura, so the damage she could be offering to her team is going to be a lot higher down the road.
Oh, but look at this smoke coming out. They have the Black Hole, they have the Ravage as well with the Blink. They're gonna only find Kechik at the moment. There's the Blink Ravage coming out. Lincoln's pop from the Malphite, and he just replicates himself out and might be fine as... Whoa, Lion, he got that counter kill onto the draw, so 1 for 0 so far. ADTR though, I don't think a TP will cut it. Maybe Kechik can go on waveform TP away. You don't want to stay there. ADTR gonna be brought down before the TP. And yeah, Kechik just TP's out after the waveform, but a 1 for 1 draw though. I mean, Mask of Madness might be a good item in some cases, but when a Finger of Death is targeting you, it suddenly becomes pretty bad.
Yeah, not really where we want to be as Drow Ranger, and even after that fight, Invasion had pretty crappy positioning. Like, they were all spread out in this jungle area where they could have easily been picked off. Losing the Lich is not a bad thing because it's a Lich and that's kind of his job, and he was the only one to die. Easily I could have seen 2 or 3 Invasion heroes going down in exchange, and well, ultimately all of that happened because the Tidehunter was really overeager to kill off this Morphling. They couldn't land the Gust on him because Drow Ranger obviously was getting intercepted, and then after that they don't have much disable unless they want to burn the Black Hole. So Blink into Ravage, although it's, you know, a pretty good initiation tool, not when the Morphling has a Replicant and a Lincoln Sphere to keep himself safe. They need a little bit more than that in order to actually kill off this Morphling. It was just Ravage kind of being wasted in that last fight.
Yeah, with the Ravage being on cooldown now, Invasion, they can just feel that much safer wherever they go, really. But Kechik just continues to farm up. He has a crazy amount of farm, really. Yasha now finished as well. 11k net worth compared to the 6.8 of the Drow Ranger. So, not quite doubling, but pretty damn close to it. And it's only 19 minutes in. And if it comes to just late game carry prowess, I prefer the Morphling over the Drow, to be honest.
Yeah, me too, especially if Keswick eventually goes for an Ethereal Blade. Drow Ranger is not tanky, and she's not going to be able to withstand that. Even now they're setting up for the Drow, and a Blink Hoof Stomp will mean the death of Shenrui. There it is. Stampede to cancel the Blink Dagger, waveform forward, and Double Edge. There goes the Drow. 1, 5, and 4. She's not having a great game, and as expected, the Centaur getting a fast Blink Dagger is kind of the reason why.
Yeah, he got it really damn fast being a solo offlaner. He got it, what, 10.5 minutes in, I think it was? Or at least close enough, give or take, like 20 seconds. As, well, Necrophos gets another kill onto the Tidehunter. And suddenly, just 70 seconds on the sidelines. No Aghanim Scepter yet, so if he had buyback, he would be able to use it. But still, 30 seconds added. Man, you don't want to die to a Reaper Scythe.
Yeah, it's a brutal timer at this stage, because when you respawn, when you have a minute respawn, you expect to be like level 18 or something. He's only level 11, and he just needs to get more experience, but he can't because, unfortunately, he's dead. FC, with the 4th kill of the game, using his Reaper Scythe, now level 2, incredibly good at killing people. And now Shenroi, off to the side, is going to blink into a Chain Frost. Terrible positioning from the Drow Ranger. Chain Frost is not going to bounce and kill off the Enigma, but Drow's not supposed to give her life like that. That was pretty bad, and now they're going to try to reinitiate onto FC. The Impale Finger of Death is there. Only Finger of Death actually Frost Blast to kill off the Enigma. Now the Familiar is coming from the side with the Visage. FC taking a little bit of damage, but not enough to kill him off, not nearly enough. And now they're going to turn around and continue pushing. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it's going to be Kesekimba and Centaur doing the exact same thing over towards mid. So MSI, they're just bleeding heroes and soon to be bleeding towers as well.
Well, I think Invasion, I'm not too sure if they can be even stopped at this point. They're just so far ahead. Looking at the graphs, it's just spiraling kind of. It used to be rather even on 2,500, now nearing 7.5 on net worth XP. Pretty much the same as well. There's only one outer tower remaining. Centaur even picks up a Vanguard, so probably going to be that new Crimson Guard soon. And man, Morphling, what's his next item going to be here?
Doesn't matter. I mean, he has a Yasha, he has Lincoln Sphere. 20 minutes into the game, if you have your Lincoln Sphere power treads, you're usually pretty happy. But Yasha on top of that with another 28 freaking 100 gold in the bank. He could finish up his Manta Style. He could even pick up a Sanj and go for a little bit more of a tanky route. Or he could completely leave it alone and go for a shotgun. But it looks like it will be a completed Manta Style. Can't really go wrong with that, as it will offer him quite a bit of survivability. Being able to split out of the Gust can be the difference between survival and death. So Kesekimba is incredibly powerful. And now that the Necrophos has a Blink Dagger, Lion should be close to a Blink Dagger as well. In fact, he already has one. There's no way that Drow Ranger is going to keep herself safe, because she is just going to be chased down to the ends of the earth with all these blinks.
Yeah, and I mean, he has only 900 HP plus a Mask of Madness as well, so he wants to use the Mask of Madness to do the maximum amount of damage, but oh, they want to go mid lane. Kachik just use the waveform as well. They will get the Gust, but Lincoln and Drer pick it out, and suddenly the turnaround is there. They're gonna get the Chain Frost. There's the Finger of Death, bursting up the Enigma completely. YND trying to escape with that Grave Chill. Not too sure it's gonna be enough. Waveform through over Kachik. One right click and 3 heroes down. Like, just in a heartbeat, really.
And they're going to go for a little bit more. Blink forward for a Hex onto this Razor. Hoof Stomp, Double Edge is all there. Ravage going to connect onto 5 heroes, bringing the Lion down to the very least, but that's at the expense of the Razor. And now the Tidehunter suddenly weighing over his depth. He's going to be killed off as well. The Lich is going to be killed off by some familiars, which are going to double stomp, stun up FC and Kesik. So they get 2 kills on supports, but whoop-de-doo, they're supports. That's their job again. Then MSI lose 5 heroes. Huge amounts of gold being funneled towards the survivors of that. Morphling just buying up the Manta Style is going to have another 1,400 for him. And MSI, they just can't withstand this Centaur initiation. It's just too powerful. And this is the kind of Centaur play that I was expecting in the previous set.
Exactly, agreed with you there. Just beautiful plays really by the Centaur. Just great Stampede usage, and overall their team play seems to be pretty on par with themselves really. Because I haven't really seen a single initiation where one hero like goes in, the other tries to escape or something like that. They're always on the same page, whether just run away or go for the fight. But MSI, they are trying to get the Roshan out of this at the very least, and they actually might succeed with this.
They have Gush, they have the Drow Ranger Aura, which is on and giving the Eidolons, or it gave the Eidolons a lot of damage before they did go down. Still, it's only level 2 Precision Aura though, and now, okay, gonna find them all with an Earth Spike, and Morphling's here as well. Black Hole available for the Morphling, for the Enigma, but he's gonna get bursted down before he has a chance to use it. Morphling waving forward for the Visage, gonna kill him off with the Finger of Death. Ghost dropping pretty low, but the Vanguards should keep him alive, as Shenroi is gonna be desperately trying to escape. It looks like he will make it out alive, but they lose 2, and now Roshan is only at 3,000 HP. This is easy cleanup for Invasion. That was a really nice Earth Spike, and really, again, the chain stun onto the Enigma. That Black Hole could have caught 3 if it was a little bit faster. They're going to jump in, try to go for Jotun, who's way in over his head once again. Scythe is going to execute him. FC getting a lot of mana regen off of that one. More sustained for his team. MSI, they're still bleeding heroes, and now they're going to lose Roshan, and then straight after this, it's going to be a high ground attempt. Familiar is going to try to make something happen, but no chance to deny this Aegis. It's going to go the way of Invasion, and now Keswick, he was pretty much impossible to kill without the Aegis. With it, I don't think MSI have enough.
They probably don't, and just imagine how different this fight could have been if the Tidehunter did not blow the Ravage in the base previously when the Razor was dead anyway. I guess he got like the Lion as well as the Lich kill out of it, but if they had the Ravage there, it would have also guaranteed a Black Hole to follow up, I think. But just not to be, they can't really seem to be able to use their ultimates together. But Ravage is off cooldown now, so for the next base defense, for the sake of MSI, I hope they're going to be able to chain them perfectly. But even that's going to be so damn hard. I mean, Chain Frost, Lich should be saving it at all times to stop the Black Hole.
And also when you consider the fact that it's pretty much been Invasion starting every single fight, the enemy positioning is going to be a lot easier than the positioning of your own team. So Ghost is going to be starting fights for Invasion, and then Ravage is easy to land. Black Hole is damn near impossible to land, especially since Enigma doesn't have anything close to a BKB. He has one part of it. I guess it is close, but it's not close enough. Okay, is going to be jumped by the Enigma Jar Ranger. Easy kill on the Lion. It's going to catch him by surprise. Invis Root on the Enigma, getting a little bit of value there, but it's only the Lion. If Invasion really want to, they could probably force this fight still and come away with a nice one, but they're going to instead play it slow if they have the option of doing so, because Morphling is still getting so much farm, and Necrophos, he's getting a lot of farm as well. Not as much as the Morphling, but still quite a bit with 3,000 gold in the bank account. Should be a Sheepstick, I think.
Well, definitely would make sense. I mean, Sheepstick overall, it's really a great item on any hero in Dota. But look at Kechik, look at what's flying out to him, the Ghost Scepter, which will complete the finished up shotgun, or the E-Blade. So it's gonna get even harder for MSI to do anything, and the Razor so far, for example, just drums and that's it. Oh, the Stampede, they really want to go in, the Blink comes out. Will they use the Reapers? Yes, they will. So no buyback for Razor once again. That's the third time in a row he's getting Reapered here.
Poor Razor, man. Poor Razor. And it's great to have that Reaper Scythe. I mean, right now, the buyback and the extra respawn is super relevant, especially that denied buyback status of the Razor. So he can't defend even if he wanted to. In Invasion, they use Stampede for it. Not really a huge deal. The Centaur's a little bit low on mana, but FC is going to be plowing the creep waves down, and Keswick over in the mid lane has his shotgun. It's a 26-minute Ethereal Blade, which is ordinarily pretty slow, but when you're going with Lincoln Sphere Manta style beforehand, this is an incredibly high amount of farm from the Morphling, and this Ethereal Blade is up at a very impressive time. So he's going to go for the mid lane while the rest of his team goes over towards top. And honestly, I don't know if MSI can defend a single one of these lanes, even though that they will have a number advantage in whichever lane they choose. It's not going to be enough. Already the mid lane Raxus is down over on mid. The melee Raxus, rather, is down over on mid, and now they blink forward onto JYC. Finger of Death is there. Shotgun. There goes the Enigma. Rest in peace. Mid lane is now going to be completed by Keswick, and top lane is going to be the next objective. This game, because MSI are not defending their Raxus, is pretty much over.
I think there's really no way for MSI anymore. Enigma has buyback, so if they really want to try it, they can just blink in. And BOB actually, he wants to go for it, you can see him. But there's the Crimson card activated, and what they didn't even try now, I'm not too sure why they're not even giving it a solid chance for the defense. It's just, what would it hurt? And there's the Chain Frost onto Shenroid. They want to blow up the Draw Ranger. Well, you're gonna get Reaper Scythe. No buyback on the draw anymore. The stun actually gonna land onto the Visage as well, and man, I just wanted to see MSI try once with both of their ultimates, but not to be.
And if you're not going to defend one set of Raxes, it's not the death sentence. If you sack two, then you pretty much concede the game, and they're going to do that just now. It was, I mean, MSI, their Drow Ranger constantly getting hunted down. Again, you can never underestimate the power of a Centaur. He's able to initiate these fights so convincingly, do so much damage, and when he has follow-up in the Morphling and the Necrophos, I don't see any way to get out from under that. So it is going to be Invasion taking this game pretty convincingly over MSI.
Just, I guess, as to be expected from a team of Invasion's caliber. Of course, MSI, they're no slouches themselves. So maybe just draft a little bit differently, because so far with this draft, it looked way different for MSI than we saw in the previous series out of them. And just, they couldn't get their wombo combo to work in the slightest. I think there was like maybe one fight where they got both of their ultimates off on the Enigma and the Tidehunter, but even then the Black Hole was like maybe 1 second maximum or something. But guys, this is a 2-game series, so do not go anywhere, as we're gonna be coming back in just a couple minutes time. So more Dota, or the last game of Dota to come, Invasion versus MSI Game 2 in a couple of minutes time.